And so what I'm going to try and do is show you a technique that I've used, and I've used with several businesses, just about a way of thinking of the customer at the heart of your processes and your business. And the good news is that a lot of this you'll probably be doing already. If you're a small business or a startup and you haven't got those different business departments, you're still doing everything yourself, you're still really going for growth, you're still just trying to build the business up from scratch. So keep that mindset going. And if you can do that, then coming up with a strategy that empowers all of your staff and also puts the customer at the forefront becomes a much more simple proposition. Just a word on one of the myths that we talked about earlier about it not being measurable, it doesn't drive results, blah, blah, blah. Everything these days pretty much is measurable if you're gathering the right data and the right feedback. And if you're still a business that relies mostly on offline stuff, face-to-face sales or retail or whatever, and you haven't yet made the move to digital and social media and all of the other available digital channels, I don't want you to be scared about that, because fundamentally it's exactly the same. All of the attitude that you need to have to keep your customer at the forefront is the same regardless of the nature of your business and regardless of where you operate. All the digital channels available to you are really just tools for you to use as you see fit. So, putting the customer at the heart. There's a life cycle that every customer follows. And while I was doing this, I was actually trying to think of any kind of business where this didn't apply. And I couldn't. Even people just buying basic commodities, groceries or whatever, supermarkets and retailers put an awful lot of thought and effort into this life cycle, as well as people selling business-to-business products, as well as people operating with e-commerce. The only thing that's different from company to company is the speed of the cycle and how quickly each phase moves into the next. And so at the start you've got awareness, where your customer has a need or a desire that they want to fulfill, or a problem that they want to solve. This moves on to the research phase, and this is something that's taught frequently in marketing textbooks and stuff, but it's just something that gets forgotten a lot. So people research ways to meet those needs, solve those problems, and then at some point there'll be a trigger, and that trigger could be financially related. It's payday, I've got some money to spend. Or it could be time related. Oh, it's my grand's birthday next week, I might need to buy her a present. Or there's a big contract coming up for tender that I need to put a bid in for. There's these trigger points come, which then lead to purchase, which is what everybody gets excited about, because that's when you get your money, great. But it doesn't stop there. You've got a whole process of how you deliver your product or your service, the care and support that the customer gets after that point. Hopefully you can convince your customer to buy more. And if your customer is feeling really positive about you and about the relationship that they've built up over this cycle, they'll start to recommend your products and services. They'll do that face-to-face, they'll do it via social media, they'll do it via review sites, think of TripAdvisor or similar. And then you can repeat the cycle. You get the customer to purchase again, and so it goes on. And what you want in an ideal world is for those customers to stay with you for as long as you possibly can. And that's the way that you build a sustainable relationship. And as I said, even on the sort of like mundane level of grocery shopping, think of loyalty cards and think of how much effort is invested by the large grocery retailers in keeping people in this cycle and keeping it going. And it applies to every single type of business. And what you've got at each of those areas of that cycle are opportunities to communicate with your customer. And there are different channels that you can use to communicate based on those different cycles. So right at the top for the awareness, this is where your branding comes in, this is where your advertising comes in, PR potentially. And as you move around the cycle, at each of these opportunities to communicate with your customer, you've got an opportunity to push them to the next step in the cycle and keep it moving on. And so building your marketing strategy with the customer at the forefront is really about selecting the right tools and the right channels for each section of this cycle and making sure that you're communicating with them in an appropriate way, in a consistent way that tells a compelling story, meets their needs, fulfills their desires, solves their problems.